So I'm just going to start that button. So you're probably going to see a little button show up on your screen that's asking for your permission to record. Please click on continue or okay. We will post this video in about a week onto Jarot's YouTube channel, and we'll be sending a link to all of you so that you'll be able to access it once it has been posted. I'm going to turn this now over to my colleague, Lynn Hewitt, who's going to explain today's format.
Hi, my name is Lynn Hewitt, and I'm one of the program administrators for the Connect Through Tech department. We will be covering built-in features on your smartphone that can make it more accessible for people with vision loss. We will also be covering apps that you can add to expand the options for expanded accessibility. Before each topic, we will ask you all a quick polling question. After covering each topic, we will take a few questions from the chat before moving on to the next topic. Unfortunately, we will not answer every question today, but if your question is not answered in the session, you will see the answer from our panelists when we send you a Q&A document after the program. You can also reach out to us about getting involved in our tech coaching program for more one-on-one direct help. I am putting the contact information for this in the chat, and we will also include that information in our follow-up email for you tomorrow. And I'm just going to put our phone number and the email. And you'll now hear from my colleague Lily about how to use the chat function to ask your questions and the closed captioning function on Zoom.
Great, thank you, Lynn. Hi, everyone. I'm Lily. I'm a program assistant in the Connect Through Tech department, and I'm really happy to have you here. We invite you to use the chat function to share any questions, thoughts, or comments during the program. To send a question, click on the word bubble icon with the word chat below it. And it could be at the top or bottom of your screen, depending on which device you're using. Click on chat, type in your message, and press enter or the return key to send the message to the group. Please try to keep questions as broad as possible, that they can be applied to the broader group rather than specific to personal accounts. And we'll review the questions and pose as many as possible to the panelist at the end of each topic. Please be patient and excuse us if there's not enough time to get to all the questions. Like Lynn mentioned, we'll be sending out a Q&A document for everyone to have afterwards. We also invite you to use the closed captions in this program. It might be helpful for following along with the content. So to turn on the closed captions, we've enabled them in the program. And to do that, you can find either a symbol that has two C's, CC at the bottom of your screen, or you might have to click the more option with the 3 dots. And once you click on that, it'll either say show subtitle or subtitle settings. So to show the subtitles, click show subtitle. And you should see the closed captions showing up live on your screen. And if you want to play with the size of the font, you can go to subtitle settings and make the font larger or smaller to your liking. So now you're going to hear back to Lorraine to introduce our panelists and get started.
Thank you, Lily. I also just want to take a moment to introduce Catherine Bravo, a fourth member of our team today, who is managing our entire Zoom platform from this event. So welcome, Catherine. We're glad that you're here. So I'm happy to introduce today's panelist, Angelo Pacheco, who is a program administrator with the Lighthouse Guild. His work there focuses on helping people with vision loss make technology work for them. So to get us started with Angel, Lynn is going to launch the poll on our first topic using built-in features on your iPhone.
All right, so our first topic is smartphone features. I've just put up a poll question for everyone in the audience to answer. And the question is, how familiar are you with the range of smartphone features that can make it easier to use with visual impairments? The answer is, I do not use any accessible features. I use 1 or 2 accessibility features, or I use multiple accessibility features. Click on the answer that's best for you, and then click on the submit button at the bottom of the white box. We will give everyone a moment to submit their answers. I'm going to end poll. And great. So this is what our audience said. And as you can see, the primary is I do not use any accessibility features.
We're not able to see the poll in. Is there a way to put it back on screen? No worries. There it is. Yep.
Does that work?
Yep. Just I think click on share results. Okay, perfect. We got it all.
Great. Right. So here's a common situation. Ruben is close with many of his family. Many of them communicate through group messaging on their smartphones, but it can be difficult for Ruben to read and type a response. To type a response on his iPhone. He wonders if there is a way to make the letters bigger and bolder. And then I'm going to turn this over to our panelist, Angel.
Hi, everyone. Yes, there is a way to increase the font size, and I will be demonstrating that a little later, and actually in a few minutes. So I'll go ahead and do that second after the vision part.
So Angel, the floor is completely yours. You can share screen and begin to share all this wonderful information with our audience.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Angelo Pacheco from Lighthouse Guild, as you heard. I've been with the agency for 35 years, and I would say about 25 of those years have been working with assistive technology. I was one of the first instructors to go out into the field and put these 1-foot cards, sound cards, into computers with an individual speaker, and it used to be called Deck Talk. Since then, things have changed tremendously. There's speech in almost everything today. There's speech on my Comcast box. I can have my menus read back. There's just so much available today, which is wonderful. And accessibility is very personal. Just like everyone else, we look at the color of a shirt or a pair of pants, and that's what we decide to put on today. Oh, I like this white shirt. I'll go ahead and put it on for today. The same thing with accessibility. Accessibility has so many features. We're talking about mobility, we're talking about vision, we're talking about hearing. There is so much out there. For example, I have problems with mobility. So I have my house automated. So I can say, Alexa, turn off living room light.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on living room light.
Okay.
And also something as simple as
It's 1:09.
Knowing the time. So again, technology is wonderful. It's available out there, and everyone is using it, even mainstream stuff. For example, I used Alexa right now. I just had to mute her so that way she didn't turn on again. But again, mainstream products are now becoming accessible. They're still a long way. But what I'm going to do now is introduce you to the accessibility on an iPhone. I'm currently on my iPhone. I'm going to start sharing the screen as well as the sound on my iPhone. So just give me a moment here. It's going to take a few seconds for it to begin sharing. Okay, it should be sharing my screen now. And I'm going to go into settings. Are you able to see my screen right now?
Can.
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'm going to slowly scroll down until I get to accessibility. I'm going to tap on accessibility once. And here we have several sections. We have vision, we have physical and motor, we have hearing, and we have general. What I'm going to focus on more is with the VoiceOver app, and then I'm going to go a little bit over Zoom, and then I'll go ahead and introduce you on how to change the text size, which someone had asked earlier. So VoiceOver, what is VoiceOver? VoiceOver is a speech application built into the Apple iOS. The iOS is the operating system for the iPhone, the iPad, and a couple of other Apple devices. VoiceOver is pretty good, just like anything else out there. Is it 100% accessible with everything? No. You will run into issues just like we do with Excel, Word, any other product that we use. The important thing is to go ahead and inform Apple, hey, this isn't working the way it should. Apple is usually pretty good at responding. There's assistance through Apple for people that need different types of accessibility, and it's wonderful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the VoiceOver menu right now. I'm going to tap once. And in here, you'll see that at the upper left-hand corner, it says back, and to the right of that, it says VoiceOver in the center. Below that, it says VoiceOver and a little button that's grayed out, which means that I currently have it off. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to turn it on.
VoiceOver on. Settings. Accessibility. Back button.
So everyone should be able to hear VoiceOver now. And what I'm going to do is use hand gestures. When you're using VoiceOver or magnification, hand gestures are very important. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from left to right, so that way I can scroll down.
VoiceOver. Heading. VoiceOver. On. VoiceOver speaks items on the screen. Tap once to select an item. Double tap to activate the selected item. Braille. Button.
Nope.
Speech. Speaking rate. 50%. Adjustable.
I'm going to explain what happened
Swipe up
there.
or down with one finger to adjust the value.
It jumped down the menu. That's simply because I went ahead and I pressed too long. I usually hold the iPhone in my hand. I currently have it on a stand, and when I went to swipe, it took a little bit longer on the screen, so it actually chose where my finger was. So if you're using the iPhone accessibilities often, you actually get to memorize the menu and be able to tap somewhere on the screen and either hit it dead on or be very close to it, and then you can just swipe left or right. The speaking rate is just that. You can actually change the rate at which it speaks. I actually slowed it down. I've been using VoiceOver for quite some time, along with another speech program called JAWS, Job Access with Speech. So I slowed it down for this, but I usually hear it at this rate.
Speaking rate. Oh. Speech. Speaking rate. 60%, 70%, 80%.
I usually hear it at 80%. I've had colleagues and friends that actually hear it at 100%.
90%, 100%, 90%, 80%, 70%, 60%, 50%.
I'll bring it down to 50%. And what I'm going to do is just turn it off right now so we can move a little bit faster.
VoiceOver on, VoiceOver off.
And I'm going to go into speech, into the speech menu. So we're now in the speech menu, and the first item on the speech menu is voice. We have several options, several voice options here. So I'm going to tap on that once. Right now I have Samantha on, but on the list you have Alex, Allison, Ava, Fred, Nikki, Samantha, Siri, Susan. The list goes on and on. You can download these voices and you can use them rather than Samantha, which is the default. I am going to go back to the main menu for speech, and you can also change the pitch. Basically, that means that you can make the pitch higher or lower, deeper. So you can actually make many changes to this. And again, accessibility is very personal. So you can make many adjustments to your liking. It can detect different languages. Usually while I'm training Spanish speaking students, it detects the language and converts it over to Spanish. Sometimes it does have a bit of a funny accent when it does it, but it does work. And you can always add a new language, and there's a long list to choose from as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the back button on VoiceOver, and as you can see right below speech, you have Braille, you have VoiceOver recognition, and a whole bunch of other options that you can select. With Braille, if you have a Braille display, you can actually read what's on the screen without having to have voiceover on. What I do suggest is that if you're outside in a train, on a bus, use an earpiece. That way, not everyone hears what you're doing on your phone. So that's very important. So again, there's many options here. Let's go into rotors. Rotors allows you to select how you want things read back to you, whether you want the characters, the words, the lines, speaking rate, volume. The list goes on and on. There are so many options compared to even just 10 years ago. So it's amazing how far we've come, but we still have a long way to go. I'm going to click back on VoiceOver, and I'm going to move on to Zoom. Zoom is a screen enlarging program. I just went into the menu, and the first option is Zoom with a grayed out button. And then underneath that, there are some instructions. And then below that, it says follow focus. So wherever your focus is, if you're looking at a picture or if there's a cursor on the screen, that'll be the main focus. Smart typing, keyboard shortcuts, you can make different changes on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn on Zoom. And in order for me to move Zoom around, I actually need to use 3 fingers. So I'm going to go ahead, touch the screen with 3 fingers, and then I'll be able to move around. Whenever you enlarge anything, whether it's on a computer, a smart device, it's always going to be a puzzle. You will need to learn how the entire window, the entire picture looks prior to using magnification. This way you know where you are at all times. Have someone describe it to you. Oh, in the upper left-hand corner, there's this, in the upper right-hand corner, there's that, and so on. So that way, when you open up Zoom or start Zoom, it'll just put you in focus wherever a cursor is or anything, and you might get lost. But if you recognize some of the words, some of the menus, it's easier to understand, oh, I'm in the center, or I'm at the top of this window. Let me go ahead and move to where I need to go. So again, I can move around, up, down, left, right, and I'm going to go back here. And if I go ahead and take my 3 fingers and tap twice, it goes ahead and minimizes the screen size, and it puts it back to the size font that you had originally chosen. I'm going to tap twice again on the screen. It'll go ahead and enlarge it. And what I can do now, I can either increase or decrease the size by tapping twice and holding and moving up or down to change the magnification size. So here we go. There we go. So I can go ahead and move it up, move the 3 fingers up and down after double tapping, and it'll go ahead and change to the size that I want, or I can actually just stop at the size that is best for me. I'm going to bring it back down over to Zoom, and I'm going to go ahead and turn Zoom off. I'm going to go back to the accessibility list, and I'm going to go to display and text size. So someone had asked, how can you make the text larger, make it bold? This is where you would do it, under display and text size, which is available under accessibility. Right now, I do have the bold text on. I'm 55, my eyesight's not great, so I do use some of the accessibility on here. As you can see, I do have larger text on. I'm going to tap on larger text, and you'll see that it is on. You have to be careful when you use larger text. If an app has a very large name underneath it, what will happen is that the letters will then start bunching up together, and it'll be very difficult to read. So be very careful how you use the large text feature. And at the bottom, You do have a little scale, so if you move it to the right, you'll see that the text does increase. And if you move it to the left, it'll just continue to get smaller. And I need to have it back the way it was. Okay, there we go. I'll leave it a little larger for now. But again, this is the way you can change the text on here. Very easy to do once you know where it's located. You always go to accessibility, and you saw how it was before. It's categorized into 4 areas. Click on the area that you need and start playing around with the features. And when I say play around with the features, be very careful, because if you don't remember what you turned on or off, you may have issues down the road going back to that certain area, and you may have to go to the Apple store or call me, and I would have to review your settings with you. Yeah, you can even change the button shapes, the on-off labels. You can reduce the transparency. There is so much that you can do today. Everyone says, oh, what's the best way for me to go ahead and use the accessibility? I said, that's all up to you. I can have 10 people with macular degeneration here, and each one will see things differently. So it's very personal. It should be one-on-one. There shouldn't be a group setting, because again, everyone learns at a different rate. Everyone sees differently. So it's very important to have that one-on-one, and that's what we do in our Assistive Technology Center. Let me go ahead and go back. So again, that was vision, and there is physical and motor. You can do the Face ID, attention, the touch. So instead of having to tap once or twice on certain things, you can change the way you open up an application. You can have Siri do the same thing for you. So the iPhone wasn't designed for the visually impaired or totally blind or those with mobility issues. However, it's the most accessible phone out there. Even phones like the Jitterbug, they'll do so much for you. Whereas the iPhone has all the bells and whistles, and sometimes that may be too much for someone. So they can go with something like the Jitterbug or another phone made specifically for someone with a visual impairment or total blindness. Let's go back here. And I am going to stop sharing the screen now. And Lynn, back to you.
Great, thank you so much. That was a wonderful demonstration. And actually, it looks like we don't have too many questions in the chat at this time. So if you want to move on, we can move on to the next poll and scenario.
Great. Thank you, Lily. And thank you, Angel. That was great. Our second topic is apps that you can download so that your iPhone has additional capabilities that aren't part of the options it comes with out of the box. So I've put up our next poll for everyone in the audience to answer. The question is, have you ever had any apps to your iPhone that make it more accessible to you as a person with vision loss? And of course, the answers are yes or no. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to just take a look at the poll. Great, we have some answers coming in. I'm going to go ahead. All right, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll now. And it looks like 83. Oh, I'm going to share the results. It looks like 83% said no. So that's pretty high. Great. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn this back over to Angel. Thank you.
Okay, let me go ahead and close this out. All right. Well, right now I'm going to welcome you into my home. I'm actually going to start scanning a few things for you. The first app I'm going to introduce you to has the bells and whistles into it. After I demonstrate that app, I will then move on to other apps that just do one thing. And again, it's all personal preference into what you want to use. The first app I'm going to use is the Seeing AI app. That's SEEING AI app. It was actually developed by Microsoft. So let me go ahead and start sharing my screen again. Okay, it is sharing again. I'm going to close my settings and I'm going to go into my accessibility folder. So Seeing AI is the first app that I have here. I'm going to tap on it once. Seeing AI can be used with VoiceOver. Right now, we're at the text feature where if you put anything with text in front of it, it'll go ahead and read it back to you. So I'm going to do this.
Lighthouse Guild, to provide exceptional services that inspire people who are visually impaired to attain their goals.
So anything with text
Memories.
will go ahead and be read back to you like it's trying to do right now. The next option is
Family Memory Document.
So if you have a document that needs to be read, it'll ask you to go ahead and put it in front of the camera. And if you have it off on an angle, it'll let you know to move it to the left or to the right. It'll make tones and everything.
Hold steady.
Right now it's trying to
Processing.
pick up the document and there was nothing there. So again, this is one of the things. I don't know what that is. So let's go back here. I'm not going to use the document because if I do, it'll just start talking and take up a lot of our time. But what I will do is go over to the barcode reader. The barcode reader is a fantastic item, especially if you're going to a supermarket. When you walk into a supermarket, most of the labels are facing towards the back. With cereals, the labels are usually at the bottom of the box. So you actually need some tips before you go into the grocery store and start pulling things off the shelf. And one of them is to know where the codes are. I do have a bottle of Jif here, and what'll happen is it'll give me all these tones until it identifies where the code is, and then it will go ahead and take an image of it.
Processing. Jif Peanut Butter Creamy.
Okay, so it says Jif Peanut Butter Creamy. All right, that's great. I like to know more about this product. So at the bottom of my screen, right below the picture, it says share, which means that I can share it with someone. So if someone's doing the shopping for me, I can go ahead and text it to them. Or I can hit more info. I'm going to tap on more info. The information pops up on the screen. It says Jif Peanut Butter Creamy, but instead of me reading it at the bottom, there is a play and pause button. There's also an increase, decrease text size, and also the ability to go ahead and forward this to someone via text, via email, or any other app that you may have. So I'm going to hit the play button now.
Jif Peanut Butter Creamy. Jif Creamy Peanut Butter. Fresh roasted peanut taste. Look for the flavor seal. Contains no preservatives. No refrigeration required. Ingredients made from roasted peanuts and sugar. Contains 2% or less of molasses.
Okay, so I just paused it. Just wanted to give you an idea of how that works. And it's great with many of the products. I just hit the back arrow. It took me back to the picture that I had. I'm going to hit the back arrow again. And I'm going to do the same with this product here.
Processing. A whole kosher dill sandwich slices.
So again, it tells me what that product is. And again, I can go into more info and it'll go ahead and provide me with the product name, the ingredients, and just the information that a lot of us take for granted and just grab and read it and put it back on the shelf if we don't want it. Here, someone with a visual impairment or total blindness can have that information available to them. So I'm going to go back. The next feature on here is the People app.
Person.
And what it does is if you're in a room in a meeting and you want to know who's in that meeting, you can take a picture of that individual, you can label it with their name, and it'll let you know Angel is 5 feet away from you. If the person's not labeled, it'll let you know a person is 5 feet away from you. Now, when you take a picture of someone, it can actually go ahead and try to describe that person. I've had pictures of my daughter and tell me that she's in her 20s when she's not. So I'm just going to go ahead and scan the room.
Angel near top right, 6 feet away.
Okay, so tell me Angela's 6 feet away. It focuses in on her face. I'm going to take a picture.
Processing. 24-year-old woman with brown hair looking happy.
Okay, so it tells me she's 24 when she's actually 17. So this is one of the issues that it has. Let me go back. I wish it would tell me that I'm 24. Anyway,
Zero faces.
so that's one of the things it does. It's great just to know how many people are in a room. If you know anyone in that room, just make sure that you ask permission before you take a picture and you label that picture with their name, so that way they're not surprised later on if they hear the name coming out of your phone, which is why I suggest you always wear an earpiece with any voice output. The next part here,
Currency.
okay, is for money. So if you're in a store and you want to ensure that they're giving you the correct change, you can turn this portion of the Seeing AI app on, and
$1. $1. $10. $20.
and as most of you were able to see, I actually brought the bills in from different directions, so that way you can tell that, hey, it doesn't matter how you go ahead and put the money in front of it, it'll just go ahead
$20.
and read it, whether it's the front or the back. What I like about the Seeing AI feature, money identifying feature, is that it also turns the light on. It's great if you have a bag or something and you have an earpiece on and you just want to know what's in your bag, as far as money, so that way no one sees you pulling out money and or hears that you have $5 $20 bills on you or anything like that. So again, it's a fantastic thing. It works well in dark areas because it turns the light on for that. Now, the scene feature.
Scene. Preview.
This feature is great most of the time. I'm going to take a picture of what is in front of me.
Processing. Probably a person watching a TV.
Okay, probably a person watching a TV. It caught my daughter's feet and the TV stand, and it's correct. It's a TV. However, it can confuse the TV with other things, and I'm going to show you in a moment. You can also explore the picture. So if I tap on Explore, which is located in the lower right-hand corner,
Processing.
it'll go ahead and process the picture.
5 items detected. Move your television. Person. Studio couch. Television.
So basically, whenever I move my finger around, it tells me where the TV is in the picture, where the person is in the picture, and so on. So it's a great little tool if it goes ahead and captures the items correctly. I am going to hit the back button twice here, which is located in the upper left-hand corner. And I'm going to move to my left. I have a 75-gallon fish tank. I'm going to take a picture of it.
Processing. Probably a room with a television and chairs.
Okay, so it confused my 75-gallon tank with a television. So again, you have to be careful. and not try to get a remote for the fish tank. So it's not 100% perfect, but it does a pretty good job with identifying items such as people, sofas, chairs, and other objects, which is great. Okay, going back to the little menu down at the bottom. Color.
Color, gray.
The color detector works well only when there's good lighting. For example, if I had something that is navy blue in a poor lighting setting, it will probably state that it's black. So you have to make sure that there's enough lighting in the room, and we're going to get to lighting in a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and put this in front.
Gray and red.
Okay, red.
Red. Gray.
Let's see if it detects what color that is.
Gray and yellow. Yellow.
Okay.
Yellow and greenish
Those were the
brown.
kosher dill
Gray.
pickles. If they were brown, I'd throw them out, but okay. So again, color detectors are not always great. You have to make sure that you have good lighting. You don't want to walk out with one navy blue shoe and one black shoe. So just be careful when using the color app. The next option here
Handwriting. Preview.
is writing. What the Seeing AI app does is it detects handwriting and will go ahead and read it back to you. So I'm going to go ahead and write something here quickly. Let's see if it does pick it up.
Processing. Welcome Meritum does Altramont and Snee. Animus Dunum 9 number 10. 15 MF.
Okay.
2.
What it did was it read my handwriting, which was only welcome, but then it tried to detect the ink or the ink that's on the opposite side of the page. So I came up with this gibberish at the bottom. So as you saw, I was able to write out welcome, and it did go ahead and read it. So if you get a postcard or something that's not in Braille or in large print, you can use this app to try and have the information read back. If it's a doctor's handwriting, good luck. It may not work. So I'm going to now take the iPhone off the stand. I'm going to lean back a little bit. And the next feature
Light.
is light. If I'm totally blind and I wanted to know if my light is off, I would use this app and I would move it around to where I
Angel,
know.
we're getting a lot of feedback. I don't know that people can hear what you're sharing with them with the app turned on.
Okay.
Handwriting. Preview.
Okay. How's that better?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. What I'm going to do in a moment is I'll switch back to the Light app. What it's doing is providing you with a tone. The louder the tone, that's where the light source is coming from. So if I wanted to know whether or not my lights were on, I would go ahead to the light source. I would move my phone up, and you'll hear the difference in tone. So I'm going to do that now.
Light. Handwriting. Preview.
So it went ahead and detected that my light was on by the louder tone there. So again, I know that my light is on. I can go ahead, and if I have my house automated, I can go ahead and tell it to turn off the light, or I can go to the light switch and turn it off, and save some money on electricity because things are pretty expensive nowadays. So those are all the features in the Seeing AI app. It's the bells and whistles of a lot of other apps. It's an amazing app that does quite a bit. You can actually change a lot of the features on here as well. Unfortunately, we don't have all that time. I like to move on to a couple of more apps that don't have the bells and whistles. They'll just go ahead and take a picture of the scene, and another one that will identify money. So give me a moment to exit this app. And the next app, I actually need VoiceOver on. Now I can turn VoiceOver on by tapping my right button 3 times, but if I go too slow, it'll go ahead and close out my iPhone and I may lose all of you. Okay, that go down too far. I'm going too fast here. And let me go ahead and turn it on.
VoiceOver on. Settings. Accessibility. Back button. App switcher. Setting. Set VoiceOver.
Actually, let me try it the
VoiceOver
other way.
off.
Let me go ahead and
OK. But OK. Toolbar. Repeat. Dimmed. Button.
so
Say
TapTapSee
the
is
last
on,
picture again.
and I can take a picture of an item. I'm going to take the same picture as I did with seeing AI.
Repeat. Dimmed. Camera button. Button. Camera button. Picture 1 in progress. Picture 1 is black flat screen TV on brown wooden TV rack.
Okay, this one gave me a little less information. It didn't tell me that someone was watching or that, there's somewhat of a couch. It's an ottoman, but it gave you a little bit less of a description. And again, you have to be careful how you use these apps because I can aim it at my fish tank here.
Camera button. Camera button. Camera button. Picture 2 in progress. Picture 2 is black flat screen TV turned on brown wooden TV hotch.
So again, it took my fish tank as a TV as well. So that is the TapTapSee.
Alert. Selected. VoiceOver off.
And I'm going to move on to the iNote. The iNote is similar to the money identifier in Seeing AI, but it does something less and a little bit more, and I'll show you that. The first thing is it does not turn on the light like Seeing AI does. So you really can't use this inside of a purse or a bag or anything else because it may not identify the bill properly or at all. So I'm going to go ahead and put some bills in front of it right now.
$1.
$1. Front. $1.
Back.
Back.
$10.
$10.
Front.
Front.
$20.
$20.
Back.
Back.
So what this does is it identifies the front and the back of the bill, whereas the Seeing AI app did not do that. Some people like to stack their bills a certain way too. Again, personal preference. So the iNote will go ahead and do that. But again, unfortunately, it does not have the light turning on, so it's difficult to use in a purse. I would use an earpiece if you're going anywhere shopping and you're getting your change. It'll identify the bills, but unfortunately, it won't do the coins. But at least you'll know that you're getting the proper change back. Okay, and back to you, Lynn.
Amazing, thank you. There was a question about what the name was of the app you showed before iNote. The second one total.
It was TapTapSee. TapTapSee.
Wonderful. TapTapSee. So again, I noted in the chat, but we will send a list of these apps as well. So there was a question about, and you might or might not have an answer to this, but about what kind of phones are the most accessible for older adults with vision loss? Do you think an iPhone is a great option, or do you think there's more simple ones that are good to use?
Again, it's all a personal preference. Um, it also depends on the individual skills. Some person, one person can be a slow learner, another one can learn quickly, another one may not be able to grasp all the features that are available. Um, the iPhone has many ways, thousands of ways to configure it to make it accessible, whereas something like the Jitterbug only has minimal features. So the Jitterbug can go ahead and read caller ID. The iPhone can do the same, but you don't have to go ahead and do a lot of adjusting to the Jitterbug to get it working. That's what it was designed for. Whereas with the iPad, you have to go ahead and go through all these modifications, especially the speed at which it speaks back, the size, the magnification size. So again, it all depends on the users and their ability to use technology.
Great. I think that's a good answer, and people are able to sort of now use the things you've taught us about iPhones. And oh, another question that came up was, are these accessibility features also useful in iPads? Do they have the same settings as an iPhone? Do you know?
Yes, they do. And I have my iPad here, and they do have all the accessibility apps on there, and I can use them in the same way.
Wonderful. That's great. And another question that we would think is maybe helpful for some participants is any services that the Lighthouse Guild offers for helping with technology for people with wanting to learn more.
Yes, we actually have a few programs that are going to be starting in October, and we have the Assistive Technology Center. There's the Tech Pals program that will be starting in the fall that will teach individuals, the elderly, how to use their devices. We will assess and determine if the device that they're using is able to handle the accessibility, because that's one of the issues between the Android and the iPhone. The Android, you have hundreds of different models out there. The Android uses an operating system that's open source. Open source meaning that anyone can go in there and modify that operating system to their needs. And that's what a lot of phone companies do. So Verizon will have their Android working one way, while T-Mobile will have theirs working another way. So we would actually need to assess every single phone to determine if it's useful for that individual. But again, going back, yes, we do have a lot of resources available. And my information is out there, so you can give me a call or email me, and I'll go ahead and try and assist you.
Thank you. That's great. And do you think you could possibly go over again how to make the font size bigger on people's phones? Do you think you could do a quick showing of that again?
Sure. I'll go ahead and share my screen again. 3, 2, 1.
And I just want to remind our attendees that we will be sending you a link to the video of this session today. So while it's great that Angel can take the time to do this, if there are other things that you want to go back and see, or if you want to look at it several times as you're trying to set it up on your own iPhone, that resource will be made available to you.
Okay. So what I did was I went to Settings. I scrolled down to Accessibility. And in the Vision section, it's the third option, Display and Text Size. And here you would go to larger text, tap that once, make sure that it's on. And then at the bottom, you actually have a scroll bar. If you move it to the right, it'll go ahead and increase the font size. If you move it to the left, it'll decrease it. But again, be very careful, because when you increase the text, it can jumble up. The letters will actually go over each other, and you might not be able to make out some of the labels for some of your apps.
That's
Okay.
good to know. Great. Yeah. So for people who want to have larger font in their messages, you can follow those instructions that Angel just described. And I just sent Angel's contact information into the chat. His phone number is 212-769-7850. And his email is PACECOA@lighthouseguild.org. So you can contact him through there. We'll also send that with the Q&A document and the recording that will come out next week. And yeah, so please reach out to Angel at the Lighthouse Guild or just the Lighthouse Guild with any following questions, or if you're interested in getting some technology help with that from them. Also from Duro, we have wonderful technology coaches who have helped with accessibility on iPhones, Androids, iPads. So thank you all so much for coming. And I think that we'll pass it back to Lorraine.
Great. Thank you very much, Lily. So I just want to thank everybody for coming, especially to Angel, who's provided us with so much helpful information. Angel, before we sign off, can you please just let us know if you have any thoughts or recommendations to people who are feeling a little hesitant to use this technology for the first time? I know it can be a little unnerving. We're always afraid we're going to break our phones or our iPads, or that we might erase some important information if we hit the wrong button. What do you say to people when you encounter that in your work?
First thing I tell people is try before you buy. Go into a store like Staples, Best Buy, take a look at the devices. If it's an iPhone, I'm sure a family member or friend has one. Ask them if they can go into settings and go to accessibility, and if they'll allow you to play around with some of the features there. Don't worry if you get stuck, just give me a call. And yeah, always try before you buy. Be careful with large stores also, with extremely bright lighting. If you're going to purchase, let's say, a monitor or something, because you may not have that same bright lighting at home, and when you bring the monitor home, it may not be that bright. Which is another thing that you should try out on your devices, whether it's a smartphone, a computer, a tablet. Check the brightness. If you need brightness, that's going to be very important. Try and find a darker place in the store to take a good look at the device. And don't be afraid. If it breaks in the store, that's their responsibility to try and figure out how to get it up and running again. As long as you haven't dropped it yourself. But always try before you buy. And there's a lot of stores out there that are happy to go ahead and say, sure, come on in. Apple is one of them. You can actually schedule appointments. A lot of our consumers use the store on 14th Street, the Apple store on 14th Street. They usually have someone there that works with the assistive technology. So you can call, find out when that person's there, and schedule an appointment.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So I just want people to also understand a little bit about the difference in the services that you might be able to obtain either through Lighthouse Guild or through Derote's Tech Coaching Program. Derote's Tech Coaching Program, and our information is on the screen right now, deals with a wide variety of technology questions. So we can help you with everything from starting to use a brand new device up through some more sophisticated uses. But if you have questions specifically about accessibility technology related to making your iPhone easier to use with vision loss, or an Android phone or any other tablet with vision loss, you would be best served by reaching out to Angel at Lighthouse Guild, as they are the experts in these accessibility features. And to answer a question I saw pop up in the chat, yes, these options do look different and may not be as numerous on Android, but Android does in fact have many accessibility features as well. One of the resources that we will include when we send out our Q&A document next week It's also links to the guides that DeRote has developed for late tech adopters, people who are coming to technology later in their lives, that focus specifically on our accessibility of features. There is one for iPhone and there is one for Android phones. These are free. You can download them directly from our website, and we'll include the links in that. I also see that one of our friends at Lighthouse Guild is saying if you have any other general questions about the Lighthouse Guild, their programs, their services, you'll be able to reach out to their referral coordinator, and they've included a phone number and an email. We will add that to our resource Q&A document, which will be sent out to you within the week. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We're so glad that you could attend, and we look forward to seeing you at the next option for living well digitally. Have a great afternoon.